Hey everyone, it's me, Roy. On the eve of Pokemon Day, I just wanted to go ahead and record a quick video about Pokemon, talking about it, predictions for tomorrow, that sort of thing. I do want to apologize for the sort of unprofessional feel to this video because I'm not going off of a script. It's just going to be me rambling. Uh, First of all, I guess I'll start with saying what I hope for Generation 10. I know I'm going to be in the vocal minority here, but I would love a classic, true, like, return to form for Pokemon. I personally don't really care for the overworld spawns, and I haven't for a while. It makes getting shiny Pokemon too easy. Not that I'm one who says, "Oh, it's ruining the value of shinies," but I, coming from the era of 1 in 8192, I don't like shinies being too easy to find, personally. Um, but that's just me. Uh, I just I just prefer the classic shuffling around in grass, entering a battle scene, and all that for wild Pokemon. To me, the classic RPG aspect of Pokemon is what made me fall in love with the franchise in the first place. And for me, it never really had any issues feeling like a world that's alive with the random grass encounters. Because, like, even in the anime, you wouldn't see Pokemon every 3 seconds. So, for me, I didn't really mind all that. Um, and after 2 generations on Switch, where, yeah, you're the main character, but there's no real, like, villain to the story. I'm not really gonna go into details about, like, Scarlet and Violet's epilogue, but out of respect for people who might not have experienced those games yet. But I loved in Gen 1 how you were just a kid trying to be the very best, like no one ever was. And then you get roped into this whole Team Rocket thing. And then after that, you just continue on your journey. I liked how Team Rocket returned in Gold and Silver. And I really liked the overall plot to Ruby and Sapphire, where all of a sudden there's this cataclysmic thing that could wreak destruction, and it's up to you to stop it. And things like that made me really feel like a hero when playing Pokemon games back in the day. Like, that's one thing that I really didn't like about Sword and Shield, how for a lot of the generations before that, there'd be plots that make you feel like the hero. And I know in Sword and Shield, we do ultimately end up being the hero, but a lot of the whole, like, Leon, stand back, I've got this, and you just like before, the major point during the end game tournament thing. I just didn't like feeling like a kid on the sideline, If is one way to put it. I liked how with Gen 3 and Gen 4 and even Gen 5, you know, it felt like you were a chosen one stepping up to the plate to save the day. Um, and while I really did enjoy the friendly rivals in some of the games, and I know Ruby and Sapphire had friendly rivals too. Um, I suppose Diamond and Pearl and Platinum rival wasn't unfriendly or friendly. He was just kind of annoying. Um, but the rude rival in Gen 1 and 2. I'm not opposed to having friendly rivals, but like I would love to have a rival who is a jerk again because I got to be honest, uh beating Hop repeatedly in Sword and Shield, and then there's the whole point where he gets all depressed and it makes me feel like the jerk rival. Uh but I would love to play a game, a new Pokemon game that feels like the Pokemon games that made me love this franchise in the first place. You know, a true return to form. That's why I'm so excited for Fire Red and Leaf Green, and why I really hope that they add the rest of the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance Pokemon games. And if they can figure out a way to do it, it'd be really cool if they did the DS games too. Um, and now on to some predictions for tomorrow. I really don't know what sort of like serious predictions that I could make. Some things are pretty obvious, like they usually have like 10 or 15 minutes of mobile games and, you know, things like Pokemon Unite, Cafe Remix, Pokemon Go. I'm sure there's going to be something TCG related, whether it's the mobile game or the actual card game. I have not looked up any leaks because I'm wanting to go into this unspoiled. But I mean, if there's any remakes revealed, I kind of hope that, you know, I know it's controversial, but I would hope that there's Gen 5 remakes. Um, if there's not remakes, but instead a new game or games, well, in the first part, I already said how I would love a classic return to form for Pokemon with the tall grass, random encounters, um, a rival that's a jerk. a plot where I actually feel like I'm a hero saving the world. Um, I do hope that Fire Red and Leaf Green have home compatibility, but I hope it's full to and from, because I have so many Pokemon that I would love to send back to Gen 3's Kanto. I have Pokemon that could visit Gen 3 Kanto that were caught in later games, like my Shiny Latias. I'd love to take her through the Kanto Pokemon League to get the League ribbon there for her, and several other Pokemon like my Shiny Mewtwo from Soul Silver. Um, so I really hope it's to and from. I mean, Pokemon Home retains data from games, you know. So, for example, like if you send a Pokemon to Brilliant Diamond and it has a move that doesn't exist in that game, it replaces it, but sending it back to home, you can reteach that move at any time it remembers that it learned it. And I think that's the case for even moves that were forgotten before it was even sent to home, because I want to say, I mean, I don't want to say anything's factual here, but I want to say I was able to reteach an event Pokemon a move that it lost at some point over time when it was in Pokemon Home. So, Pokemon Home should theoretically be able to just remember ribbons that a Pokemon has that doesn't exist in Fire Red and Leaf Green. So, I mean, maybe there's deeper reasons why, but to me, it doesn't really, like, I don't see a reason to not allow Pokemon to go from home to Fire Red and Leaf Green. And that's something I really, really hope for. I don't go for ribbon masters, but I do like collecting ribbons on Pokemon that are special to me or my shiny Pokemon, and it would be really cool to get ribbons on Pokemon that couldn't get them before. And then speaking of transferring Pokemon, I have to wonder if Fire Red and Leaf Green are just coming to the Switch natively. What does that mean for Coliseum and XD on GameCube Classics? Will those have Pokemon Home compatibility? Or will it have indirect compatibility where you can trade with Fire Red and Leaf Green and then send Pokemon to home through Fire Red and Leaf Green? Or are the Pokemon going to be just trapped in the GameCube games? As someone who likes all of my Pokemon to be in one place, if that's the case, I have to admit I probably won't be touching Coliseum and XD, because I really would hate to find a shiny Pokemon that I can't send to Pokemon Home. That would be incredibly upsetting. And then another thing with Fire and Leaf Green, will we be able to go and catch Deoxys? Will Deoxys get the Celebi treatment? Or will we be able to get the event items through mystery gift over the internet, where it just treats it as if the game is at an event where they're being distributed. Because I would really hope we can, because I really, really want a shiny Deoxys. It's been a bit of a dream shiny for a long time. But all in all, I am definitely looking forward to revisiting Gen 3's Kanto, uh, traveling Kanto again, going down nostalgia lane every second of the way, every step of the way, every second of playtime. There's a good chance I'll be streaming some shiny hunts if it has home compatibility. Maybe I'll even, stream, getting ribbons for Pokemon if it does have to and from compatibility. Just stream myself taking various shinies through the Elite Four. I already have a pretty good idea of what Pokemon I plan to use for my playthrough. Um, and yeah, shinies aside, I would absolutely love to send my original Fire Red Blastoise back to Fire Red's Kanto. It would be a true full circle moment, I tell you what. In terms of potential anime uh, announcements or reveals, given that it's the 30th anniversary, I would not be surprised at all if there's going to be a special arc where Ash returns in Pokemon Horizons, which would be really cool. It'd probably feel like catching up with an old friend, to be honest. And under the assumption that that does happen, it makes me wonder: would Ash still be 10, or will we actually be seeing a post time skip Ash, where he's like 15 or 20? Will there be? I know it's a very, very hot button topic here, but would there be any indication of who Ash might have ended up with? Will the Pokeshippers win? Or the okay, I have to admit I don't know the name for Ash and Serena. I don't know the name for that ship, but which team would win? Or will they have pulled a uh sort of Boruto situation with Choji and put Ash with a character who didn't exist before then? Did Brock and Lucy finally end up together without Max's interventions? It would definitely be interesting to see. And that's another thing. Since it would be a special moment, would they bring Sarah back for Ash? Whether it's still 10-year-old Ash or adult Ash? Or would they bring Veronica in for the special 30th anniversary? It's definitely something to think about. And if Pokemon Horizons ends Lico's journey in the same way that they ended Ash's journey, what comes next? Another new anime with new characters again? Or no anime at all? Or something left field like an anime adaptation of Pokemon Adventures? All in all, only time will tell. Not too much time given that I'm making and uploading this video the day before the presentation. But I've been rambling now for a little over 21 minutes, so I figured it's probably about time to wrap this up. And if you stayed with me till the end, I would like to thank you for that. Thanks for the view. I'm not gonna beg for likes and subscriptions, but I would absolutely appreciate it if you did. But yeah. I don't know if I'll be doing a lot of rambling videos like this. Maybe I will, depending on how well this one does. Not really sure yet. But, like I said, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.